In this section, we will be looking at the lookup functions. The lookup functions are choose, HLOOKUP, index, indirect function, lookup as a vector function, match, transpose, VLOOKUP, and then offset. So these are basically your all the lookup functions. So if you want to see the different lookup functions or the references functions that are there in the lookup and the references, we have got address, areas, we have got choose, columns, field value, get pivot data, this is pivot related functions. Then we have got index, hyperlink. Okay. So we'll also cover the hyperlink in this section. Okay. And then we have got the indirect, lookup, match function, offset, rows, columns. Rows and columns has already been covered initially. Okay, then we will be covering the transpose here. Okay, VLOOKUP and so on. So let's start with our first function, that is your choose function. Now choose function, what it actually does is to choose on the basis of some index value on a set of combination that is given to that. Okay, say for example, so we have got an index value here 1. Okay, so whatever there will be the on the index value that will be given here will be we will be having that names from this particular detail will be coming in. Okay. Now, say for example, we have got C4 as 1 and we have got a list here as Ram, Shyam and Sita. In Ram, Shyam and Sita, what will be this choose function will be doing is that it will be identify the first position. Okay, so first position is Ram. Okay, and then we have got Shyam as second position, Sita as second position, Sita is in the third position, Sam in the second position, and then we have Sita. Okay, so we will be getting the function here. If we write choose, then we have the index number. So this is the index number, and then we have the different values. Okay, the values, essence we are using string characters. It will be always in semicolon, double quotes. Okay, then we have Shyam, and then we have Sita. The way we represent this data in this particular format, it will be taking on that. Okay, so if we say drag it down, and in this section we remove Shyam by Geeta. Okay, so it will be taking to the next function. Okay, so it is taking on the third level as Sita. Okay, let's change Sita to Geeta and see what is happening. Okay, so it will be taking as Geeta as the name that is there. Okay, so it will be basically taking across only the name that is there in this particular say. And now if I change this index value to 4, it will be giving the hash value error. Okay, now why it is giving the hash value error is because there is no fourth division there. We have got 3 names here, Ram, Shyam and Geeta. Okay, and as since there is no fourth name, it will be giving us the values. Okay, now one important uses of this particular function I will say you. Okay, we discussed about random between function. Okay, so we have got random between, so we get from 1 to 5. Okay, now it will create a random number between 1 to 5. Rand between is the creating a random number. Okay, so I have got 5 names. Okay, let us have a name here, Ram, Shyam, Sita. Let's put it, copy this from here. Okay, and then we have Geeta, and then let's have Pavan as 4 names. Okay. So what it is doing is, so we have got choose as the function, okay, and in the index number I give an option of rand between, okay, to automatically calculate from 1 to 5 and then give me any of the values that is mentioned here. Now what is happening here, that we can just drag it down, okay. So what is whatever the it is creating a random number, okay, and then it is creating a random name out of a list, okay. Because why I have told you to use this function here is that there is no option to create random names. Okay. Say for example, we can use the function of rand between to create random numbers, but we are not able to create some random names. Okay. Now this particular choose function will be allowing you to create random names. So when you prepare a dummy data for doing some experimentations, say for example, you are creating something related to say HR database, preparing a dummy data for HR database dashboard preparation. Okay. So you can use this function for analyzing of that particular thing. This is one of the important use of your choose function. Next function in is your lookup function. Lookup function is basically a vector function. Okay, this function is with the uses, much uses of your VLOOKUP function as well as your HLOOKUP function. This function is not much used. Okay. Also, many times happens that when the data are not arranged in an ascending order or sorted in an ascending order, there is always a probability that it gives us the wrong information or the input, or there is an always a probability that there will be a creation of hash NA. Okay. So let's look at this vector function. So we have got lookup as the function. Now we have the lookup values. We want to search for theta. Okay. We have the first lookup vector. Okay, and then we have the vector result vector. Okay. So we find that theta is in the third position. Okay, we can also see it in a vertical format. Okay. So let's delete this and rewrite the function lookup. Okay, so we want to search for theta. The lookup vector is this, and then we have got the result vector as this. Okay. So it's coming as 15. So you see theta is coming as 15. Okay. This is the use of the lookup function. Now let's look at the VLOOKUP function, one of the most used function in all of the spheres, whether it is any normal organization, or it's related to research, it's related to general preparation of the data. Okay, VLOOKUP is one of the most function. Even if you go for any kind of interviews where you are going for the data entry operator job or any kind of that job like that, or even if you work with any department, this VLOOKUP function is used in almost all cases. Okay, now let's understand the syntax of the VLOOKUP function. Okay, so if we write the VLOOKUP, okay, it's looks for the lookup values. Okay, lookup values, if we remember when we were just discussing about the lookup function, okay, the lookup function was also looking forward for the lookup value. Okay, so this is the value where it is required that this particular value should be is to be looked forward for. Okay, so say for example, we select the lookup value as February in this data. So we have got this dummy data. Okay, we'll see how the lookup function works. and then we have to define a table array. Okay. In case of lookup function, we were looking forward for the vector function. Now this is a VLOOKUP function or HLOOKUP function or index function or your match function are the array functions, and lookup function is basically a vector function. That is why, because we are in most of the organization or most of the work we do, we are basically working on array, not on the vector file. That is why the lookup function is not much used in many of the parts. Okay. So we have got this table array. We can select this as table array. Okay, and then we have to define as the column index number. Okay, so where this particular column index is falling in, or what is the value we are looking forward for. Say we want to look forward for the position. Say we are looking forward for the in February, this data is at the fourth of the row. Okay, so we will write 4. Okay, and then it will be asking for whether you want for the true match, approximate match, or exact match. We always go for exact match. Okay, it is giving us 100. Okay. Now what is the uses, how you can also use this function is that, say for example, this is uh, salesman 1, and we have got 5 different salesmen. Let's increase the value so that it will be clearer to understand. So we've got 5 salesmen, and it is the sale of January, February, March, right? So I want to display some information that, let's allow the manager to select the salesman name. Okay, so we can have salesman name. Okay, we have taken it salesman name as hypothetical as salesman 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so we can have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That can be, so we can put here as value 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, whatever one want to keep the value. Okay, and then we want where which month we are looking forward for. That we are looking forward for the details of the month. So we are having 3 options, that we are having the details related to January, February, and March. Okay. So let the manager opt for salesman number 4 for the month of February. Okay. Now what will be the result for this? Okay. Say for example, we know how to use the concatenate function. Okay. So salesman name and space and salesman name, and then we need the value. So we go for the VLOOKUP function. Okay, we need to have the lookup value. So February is the lookup value. Then we need the table array. Okay, and then we need the column index number. So we are looking forward for salesman number 4. Okay, so we select the 4. Okay. And then it is asking for whether we want to go for the exact match or we want to go for the approximate. We will go for the exact match. Okay. So this is 100. So we find that for the month of sale 100. Okay, just a simple correction here. It will be 4 plus 1. Okay, because it will be looking at the, if this is 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so if you are looking forward for the salesman number 4, it will be 1 so if I put it this way. Okay, so this will be not L7, this will be Okay, so we get 100. So salesman number 4. Here what is happening, that we are selecting the column number. So column number 4 is 1 2 3 4. Okay, so in the salesman number 4. Okay, but we are selecting here as a salesman number, so it will be +1. Okay, because the first column is the name of the month. Okay, so you can allow this person to visualize and then change it to no color. So your boss will not be identify, or your manager will not be able to identify how the calculation is taking place, but he will just select the salesman number. Okay, and get the detail related to that salesman. Similar function to VLOOKUP is your HLOOKUP function, while VLOOKUP is looking forward for the vertical part. Okay, so we are looking forward for the vertical. Okay, HLOOKUPs looks forward for the horizontal. Okay, the conditions remains the same. The data is arranged in case of, if you look at in the VLOOKUP, it is January February month that is there in mentioned in the your different rows. Okay, the datas are arranged in a row. Okay. In case of HLOOKUP, the datas are arranged in a column. The functions more or less remains the same. Since most of our the data that we work on is arranged in rows. Okay, so for example, if you want to say the sales of a particular store, that will be for the month will be arranged here, and the data will be arranged here for the particular source. So most of the data are arranged in a row wise. That is why VLOOKUP is much more used comparative to HLOOKUP function. But if you go for the interview, you might be asked for HLOOKUP function too. Okay. In case of HLOOKUP function, it is looking forward for horizontal. Okay. So HLOOKUP. Okay, then we have to go for the lookup value. So we are want the detail related to February. Okay, and then we have to again select the your array. As I have already said that HLOOKUP, VLOOKUP functions are an array function. Okay, then it is asking for the your row number. It's on the fourth row. In case of VLOOKUP, we were asking for the column number. In case of HLOOKUP, we will be asking for the row number. Okay, then we are looking forward for the exact match. Okay. So we get the function of 100. Some functions related to in case of array functions, or we can say as the functions related to lookup is your one of the important functions, that is match function. In match function, what happens is that we get the position where the data is. Okay, for example, if the data are arranged, so we have got four names: Ram, Sham, Sita, Gita. These are the four names that we have. Okay, and we want to identify where is Sham or Ram or Sita or Gita is in the entire data set. Okay, so we will get say for example, if we want to know where Ram is in this particular array or column. So for that, we just have to use the match function. Then we have got the lookup value. Okay, so for example, we are looking forward for Sita. Okay, and as I have told you that match is also an array function. So we'll look forward for in an array. Okay, so we have got array here, and then we have the exact match, less than match, or greater than match. Okay, we'll go for exact match. Okay, so we find that Sita is on the third position. In case of match, we have got the other functions like looking across into the less than or greater than function. Okay, so let's say see an example to understand the less than or greater than function. Okay, so we have got 5 buses, and each buses has got different sitting capacity. Okay. So we have got bus 1 as 54, bus 2 as 50, bus 3 as 22, bus 4 as 15, and so on. And then we got an order from any organization or any people who are looking forward for going on a picnic, and we know that we have got 23 people. They have said that we need 23 people. Okay. So for example, if it is 23, we do not have any bus that is having the capacity of 23. Okay. So if we go for less than 23, okay, that if we select for 22 buses, one person will be standing, that would look odd. Okay. So we have to go for more than 23 numbers. Okay. So for that we have the we can use the function of index. Okay. uh, First we have to go for to use the function of match. Okay. Now match, basically what is match doing up, we need a lookup value. Okay. So we have got the lookup value, and then we need to have the array. Need to have the array. Okay. And then it will be asking whether you want to go for the less than or exact match or greater than match. As since 23 is not available here, so we will go for the greater than match. Okay, that is what we call as the match type. Okay. So it is saying at position number 2. Okay. So position number 2, we have got bus size with capacity of seating capacity of 50. Okay. So this is the way we can go, and then it's similarly we can go for less than type. Okay. Say for example, we have got a examination score, and then we have got a grading system. Okay. So we have got fail, pass. Then if it is more than 90%, let's go for merit, and it's if more, go for above 95%, we give them the distinction. Okay. And we have got four students here, that is Ram, Sham, Shita, Geeta. Okay. Now let's use the function of match to identify what kind of we will be getting. Okay. So we have the match here. Okay. And then we will be looking forward for, say, grade. So let's look forward for Ram. Okay. And then we have the lookup array. So this is the lookup array. And then match. So we will go for less than match, because the number, the grade that will be given to it will be greater than that. So it will be second position. So in second position we have got 50. So the score is less. If it is 60, then it will be pass. Okay. So this will be according to that. When we will understand the match index function, we will come again to this function to select the values. Okay. In case of indirect function, index function, let's look at the index function first. Okay. Now in what is happening in case of the match function is that we were looking forward for the position in the entire array. Okay. Index functions gives us the value in the entire array on a certain position. Okay. Say for example, if we see the syntax of index function, we have got index. So we have got index. It's asked for the array first. Okay. So for for example, we have the array here. Okay. Then it's asking where do you want the information or the cross section. Okay. So we say that we want the information that is in the row number 2 and column number 4. Okay. And then give us the value. So it is giving us 250. Now 250, if we see that in the second row, okay, so we have got the second row in this. So this is the second row. Okay. And then we are looking forward for in the fourth column. Okay. Now this is the fourth column. So the point where this intersect of column and row will be there, that this is this one. So what is happening, it will collect this particular information and give us. Okay. In match, what was happening is that it was giving us the position. Now this when we are talking about position, it will either give the column number or the row number. Okay, but what is happening in case of index, we are getting the information related to that. So let's go again to the match functions that we actually saw earlier in the examples. Okay, so what is happening here, that we are having the match function. Okay, now let's use the index function here to identify. Okay, so it's asking for the array. So this is the array. Okay, and then it's asking for the row number. So which kind of bus will be of the size will be there. Okay, so for that we will use the function of match. Okay, so we have got already done with the match function. Okay, and then we will be looking forward for the column number. Okay, so let's put that column number as 0, because it was the starting point. We get the 50. Okay, so second position we know that it is 50. Okay, so bus size we will be requiring for 50. Right, so this is how the array is used. Again, we will go and look at in the same function. So we can use the index function. So we have got the index, then we have to define the array. So this is the array that we are looking forward for. Okay, then will be looking forward for the row number. Which row number are we looking forward for? Right, so for row number we know that we have to go for the match function. In match function we have to define which particular person am I looking forward for the score. Okay, and then we are looking forward for the lookup array, and then we are looking forward for less than type. Okay, and then we are looking forward for column that we can give as 0. Okay, so this person Ram has actually passed the examination. Okay, so this is how the combination of match and index is done. Most of the time you will find that the combination of match and index is very important. That is making this thing very important, because row will identify match will identify the position, and index will identify the value that is there in that particular position. Okay. For if we use the match function for the rows, you can also use the match function for the column. Okay, so when we are defining 0, if we have the multiple grid, or we have got a 2 by 2 array. In that 2 by 2 array, because this is 1 by 1 single array, if we have the 2 by 2 array, okay, we can go for match function, where the match function we can have the row and the column defined by using the match function. Okay. Next function is your indirect function. Indirect function is one of the most difficult function to control it. Okay, indirect function is actually gives us the value of a value that is defined by some other functions related to that is given the address. So for example, we have got this small data set, that is we have got north, east, west. Okay, and then we have got January, February, March, and this is, say for example, the value that is there in the sales of this particular 4 zones in 3 different months. Okay, now say we want to search for G7. Okay, now G7 is basically that is February, west, and so on. Okay, so we just need to put the address here. The indirect function, okay, will basically try to identify the value that is there in H19, H9. Okay. Now, what is H9 will be giving you is basically your G7 value. Okay. So you can just change this particular value on the basis of requirement. Okay, say for example, you can use the match function here to identify which particular positions you are looking forward for. That address will be coming here. Okay, and that address will be helpful in getting the indirect function. Okay, so indirect function, the value, what is happening here, it is the position or the address of that particular cell from which the value we are looking forward for, and it will derive, the indirect function will derive the value of that particular address and give you the value. This is the important point when we are looking forward for the indirect function. Now let's look at one of the most important functions that is used on a regular basis is the offset function. Offset function is more or less similar to your lookup function or VLOOKUP function. Okay. In case of what offset function happens that it gives you the liberty to move towards the right or the left in case of data. In case of VLOOKUP, what we actually did, we used to move towards the right. What in HLOOKUP we did, we used to move below. Okay, so what in case of offset function, what happens is that you get a liberty to move towards the right, left, up, down on the both bases. Okay, so and it is most of the time the offset function is used in combination with the other function. Okay, say for example, we are using the in our example we are using the function of offset along with the sum function. Okay, the sum function along with the offset. So we what we want, that we want the total. So we have got using the sum function. Okay, and in sum function what we actually do is to give the different numbers or the range of the numbers. Okay, so what we are trying to do is to that we want to start from here. Okay, and then stop at a position. Okay, so we have got a reference number. Okay, so it will reference in case of VLOOKUP, we used to call it as 1, where we used to start up. In case of offset, it will be treated as 0. Okay, so we have got the reference. Then it is asking for where you want to go for the rows. So 0, column 0, okay, and then close it, and then finally close the sum function. Okay, so we got is 20. Okay, so it's started from this position, that is E24, and added E24. Okay, so if we are using the column, so it E24 has got 10, and then it is again adding 10 to that. Okay, so if you define it as the range here, okay, it will come as 10 because it will start from E24 and end at E24. Okay. So if we are putting comma here, okay, it will start from E24. Next value it will search with the offset function, and what is the value there as 10. Okay, so it will add 10 to that. Okay. If I change this as next value as E25, okay, it will sorry, F25. Okay, so what it is doing, it is adding this plus this. Okay, in case of here. Okay, but if we add here, we will be getting another 110. Okay. And if we change it to G, what is doing is 510. So 500 plus 10, because this is the comma here. Okay, but if we select it as range from E24 to G24, it will calculate 10 plus 400 plus 500, that is 910. Okay. So always remember, where we are using the combination function, this colon and comma. Okay. Then you can use the offset function in a number of ways. Okay. Uh, it is basically used in case of making the dashboard to get the information from different position. Because we have the luxury in case of offset function to get the detail from the rows and the column once we define it. Okay. That is same in case of VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP, but in case of VLOOKUP we can move in in one direction. Okay, so what is happening in that VLOOKUP, we can move in vertical, that is from left to right. Okay, that is to vertical. In case of HLOOKUP, we can move only horizontally, that is from top to bottom. In case of offset function, we can move both horizontally as well as vertically, and at the same time towards the left or right or towards the up or down. Okay, so if I say for example, if I use this as G and I want to move towards left, okay, so it will move towards the left function. It will be 0, it will be -2. Okay, so it is moving towards the left from here. Okay, so it started from G24 and went up to added to here. Okay, so we can move from on a minus and pluses. Okay. Then we have got the transpose function. Okay, transpose is the way to represent convert the vertical lines into horizontal and horizontal into vertical. Just move transpose this data into different. So there is two way of doing that. Okay, one is the easy and shortcut way. Most of you have been doing that. Okay, you can just select the data, copy that data, okay, and go for paste special, and then select the transpose. You transpose the data. So what was there in case of in the column has now been converted into rows, and that was there in the rows has now been converted into column. Okay, another way of doing that is using the array function, that is the transpose. Okay, and then we have to select the array, and then it will convert the rows into column and column into rows.